Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, everyone likes to think that they have great customer service, but we'll hear from a best-selling author who poses the question, do you have customer karma? That's next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, there's an old expression that says all of us are wearing the same t-shirt. Some people just can't see it. The t-shirt says, make me feel special. And I think that describes like an Apple store. You could be frustrated with your phone and you go into an Apple store and you have this wonderful customer experience with their team who kind of calm you down. To talk about that today, Arjun Sen, he is a best-selling author and he is the author of Customer Karma. And he's here today to educate us all from his experience on how to have great customer service. Arjun, thank you for coming on the show.
It's truly a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, so let's talk about this because you have a vast background. In fact, we should probably get into you were an aerospace engineer and then pivoted into marketing. How'd that happen?
To me, I just give credit to one professor at Brigham Young University, Heikki Rene. After a paper, he just told me right away that this is the best paper, and he was impressed that I did it in 1 page, whereas everybody else was taking close to 20 pages. I had to explain to him I was a poor student, that's all I could afford. And what I realized was, one, constraints create opportunities to be great, and secondly, those human beings in our life who believe and see in us what we don't see, take us to the next level. So I want to throw a shout out at every person who has opened doors for me. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Well, an engineer, I mean, there's a kind of a right brain, left brain thing. You have both, apparently. And so you transition into marketing. And tell us your career path then.
So I've been in the food industry. It just happened, started at Pizza Hut, then was at Boston Market, was one of the founding members at Einstein Brothers Bagels. I can tell you amazing stories about that. And then Papa John's, ran marketing and operations. And during my journey, worked for Blaine Hurst, the coolest boss ever, the president of the company, and we took the restaurant chain from 400 to 3,000.
That's amazing.
Yep.
And we were talking before the show about some of your favorite stories, and you told me a story about how you really sat down with some managers and learned so much from the people on the front line.
Yeah, and I think it happened accidentally because this was my first day when I moved from marketing to marketing and operations. I was in St. Louis, I still remember. The manager was Creed, and I asked him, so how cool is marketing? And he looked at me and he took me to his 3 feet by 3 feet office and said, Arjun, I know you're brilliant, but next time when you give us a new idea, can you just tell me which of these ideas I do not do? And that was a humbling experience. Like, I have never been outside my office to go through that. And the big thing I learned that day was you have to walk the path of each team member and of course customers, because if you don't walk it, you won't feel the pain.
Well, one of the things that you helped Papa John's with was the time it took to place an order. Mm-hmm. What was it before?
So I have to go take you back to 1995. Okay, it took 45 minutes on a weekend to place an order. We used to use that telephone. Okay, and we were number 3, which means Pizza Hut and Domino's, they moved fast. One put a 10% faster through an 1-800 number, still 41 minutes. Domino's put, I think, a country star. I walked into a board meeting with a transparency which had a tiny person, which is the customer. And we had the order taker to be huge. And everybody was expecting me to make a presentation. I acted like the dumb guy. All I said over and over again was, no business can survive long term where the customer feels this tiny. And finally, one of our board members, Rich, walked up there and he just drew that by saying, we want the customer to feel big. And that opened the door for us. We realized we were not in the business to make a 1%, 10%, 15% idea. We want a 100% idea. And our amazing leader, Blaine Hurst, thought of online ordering, and we were the first to start online ordering. And think of a company where our founder did not have a computer or an email. So Blaine was super awesome to get that idea through and how we brought that to. And today, Papa John's Online is $1 billion a year.
No kidding. That's amazing.
And what I learned is every idea is a seed that can go to $1 billion.
Well, Arjun is also a coach and a prolific speaker. He goes all over the planet speaking. Let's show a little bit of his sizzle reel.
My buddy Andy decides to go on a dating site. He puts his picture, and next to the picture, he puts this coupon. Go out with me in the next 1 week, and I'm buying drinks. Fine print, under $9. If I was his best friend, I would intervene by saying, dude, why are you getting so desperate? But let's say he survives. Somebody decides to go up with him. Now, Andy goes to level 2. He gets out this, romantic loyalty card and says, look, I give you punches, and they're heart-shaped punches. After 5 punches, I get you carnations. After 5 more, I get you roses. And after 15 punches, you get a box of Godiva chocolates. How sad is it? At this point, I really want to give my buddy Andy a hug by saying, dude, I feel bad for you. If this is so pathetic in relationships, why do we keep doing this every day in businesses to get customers in through the door? This number, the lifetime value of the customer, changes the whole perspective. You all want to be effective, but they want to be efficient. The customer says, I don't care about you, I don't care about you. I decide what I want. And as we go forward, that becomes a critical element for us. In the process, we got to know the customer, and then we acted passionately from our heart. The concept of karma is very simple. If you do good things for your customer, the customer will do good things back for you long term. I don't want you to give me 1 out of 100 service. I want you to give me 1 out of 1.
Well, I love how you compare it to dating. And in fact, you were telling me before we went on the air that the subtitle, Why Stop at a One-Night Stand When You Can Have a Lifetime Relationship with Your Customer, you had to fight with your daughter for that one.
And my daughter was 16 years old, but at the age of 13, she was ad ages 40 under 40. So she has a lot of credibility. And when she looked at the tagline and she said, no dad of mine talks about one night stand. I didn't want to ask how many dads she has, but finally I won that battle.
But there is a lot of similarity between dating and wooing, a mate and your customer, isn't there?
Yeah, totally. Like just for a second, visualize or imagine I'm single. And if you guys all heard that Arjun has this cool program which anybody goes out with me, I just offered them that this 50% off, like I just buy a free dessert or a free drink up to $5. You guys think I'm crazy. Then you think that Arjun has this new punch card. If somebody goes out with me, after 5 dates, I send her carnations, after 10 roses, and after 20, Arjun really gets excited and gives a box of Godiva chocolates. Now that would take my friends to do an intervention. Like Arjun doesn't see value in him. So when we think this is so crazy in the human side, why the heck do we do this on the business side of buying? And this is what my grandma always taught me was, it's all about the heart first. If you can get people to feel good, people become somewhat price insensitive. Like people want to work with you. People want to come to your amazing studios because that becomes the whole key.
Another thing that you're passionate about is mystery shopping. In fact, you told me before the show that you mystery shopped your own home.
It's, I just have to take a step back. Was one of my days at Papa John's, I was this close to the big promotion, to the point I even had planned how to spend all the money. Blaine Hurst didn't promote me for one reason. He said, Arjun, I don't see you in my stores often as a customer. You're becoming, he used the phrase, customer arrogant. I hated him. But later on, I realized the money he held, but the lesson was worth way more. Recently, my wife and myself, we were sleeping in our guest bedroom and we realized this bed was uncomfortable. Like from the edges you fall off, the blinds were not fixed. And then I went back and thought for the last 10 years, how many guests have slept here out of politeness? They never told us anything because we never asked them. So we fixed the bed. And I started making phone calls to all past customers, clients, which is like guests or friends. And I told them, hey, we have fixed the bed, can you come back? 4 guests are coming back to experience the new bed. Again, we are all good people. We want to take care of the customer. But till you walk the path of the customer, you don't feel the pain points. And what I've found is, once you feel the pain point, action is inevitable. You have to fix it because you cannot otherwise sleep at night.
Well, you're very passionate about the restaurant industry, and I would submit that your advice is more relevant today than it was when you wrote the book because of staff shortages. So all restaurants are trying to do as much as they can to create a great customer experience, but often they're thinly staffed, and it's hard to have that excellence, over and over and over again when you have like 1/3 of the wait staff that you need.
Yeah, and that's the part where I feel earlier, we all grew up in a world where we often work for brands which we didn't patronize. But now the world is blending with the millennials. A millennial will not work for a brand which they cannot feel and be passionate about. So I really think it's very important that HR, human resources, it's not about resources, it's about human beings wanting to come to work, and marketing needs to blend. And there's a pet phrase I have, my next book will be on that, called feeling business. Every team member, when they wake up and put the uniform on, they need to feel good about the uniform. When they walk in, they need to feel good about coming there, even if it's, and once you feel good about walking in, that is the first step to fix the retention problem, because you don't quit a job which you love to do.
Tell us what it's like to engage you. When you're working with a customer for the first time, what is that like?
So the first thing for us is we feel that we really need to get engaged to the brand, what the brand voice is, what the brand's core is, because to me, communication has to be purposeful, and if we cannot figure out what the purpose is, and for that, first, we want to not only look at numbers and everything you have, we do what we call is deep dives. No BS, one-on-one, I want to talk to senior management, I want to talk to team members, and I want to talk to customers. It's all about walking the pain points. And then we take them through 3 steps. Step 1 is see beyond. See beyond is the best of brands, the coolest of brands see what others don't. Today, I am in Jeff Crilley's amazing, I can't even describe, studios. Jeff doesn't have billions of dollars, but he has eyesight and a vision where he saw what others didn't, and that's what made him cool. Second is, once you see the idea, you have to make it bigger, because many times we just run with an idea. Okay? Again, going back to your example, Jeff, is you took each one of the studios and put every micro detail to make them the coolest ever, not from your point of view, but from a functional point of view. And that brings to the third part is, once you build all these, see beyond, make ideas bigger, you have to impact it one person at a time. Like, I have to be honest with you that every studio I sat, I right away could feel what Arjun can do as a business person, a speaker, or a coach. Who can I bring? Like, I saw everything because you have done that. And so you wowed me one person at a time. And that's like, salutes to you, hats off to you, man.
Well, don't stop. Okay, let's talk about brands in crisis because, keeping with the restaurant industry, a few years ago, Chipotle went through a phase where they had some issues with E. coli, I believe it was, and the brand was in crisis, but it's doing very well today. What did they have to do right to regain customer trust?
Yeah, so to me, I just thank my parents for teaching me this because growing up, I used to get into trouble a lot. And these are things I learned. When you get into trouble, you get one shot to tell the truth. Don't make it worse. So same thing I tell brands is once you are in a crisis, the very fact you can say things doesn't mean you have to say things. Secondly, you haven't watch this movie, Be Cool with John Travolta. John Travolta, when I watch the movie, talks to only me when he says this most amazing PR message. I will tell you what you need to know, maybe less. Love that. I will tell you what you need to know, maybe less. So in Chipotle's case, right away, instead of them being defensive and trying to say it's localized and the story became bigger, of course, we wanted to know what else are you not telling us. If they immediately had gone in by saying, this could have happened to any restaurant, and we are putting in this restaurant foundation to help all restaurants not have, now that would have been a bigger step, and they wouldn't have missed 3 to 4 years to come back with new management and everything else. So it's all about not make the crisis worse, just stay calm.
We're going to put up on the screen some of the brands that you've worked with because they're household names. As you look at that, oh my goodness, are even you impressed with that? That's pretty amazing.
It's amazing for a team, tiny team. Like we have been very fortunate to work with some of the big brands.
How does a brand know when they need someone like you?
So to me, I really feel it all comes down to internal leadership, because when a leader feels that they need to take the brand to the next level, sometimes you need that outside-in partner. Those two are very important. It has to be a partner, not a vendor, and outside in. The partner has to not come in and just give a report and leave. The partner needs to have a skin in the game. Like we found this coolest thing is on a project, let's say if you hired me for $100, the last invoice is $25, which I don't send you till you answer a question, yes. Jeff, did I add value to you? No justification. Because to me, I really feel that forces us to understand where you want to go. And sometimes brands need to be open. Because if, my wife again taught me that if you tell me what to do, when to do, how to do, you don't need me. But if you give me flexibility on the how, then it's fun. The brand list that you showed, in some cases, like 4 cases, we have come up with new taglines. In quite a few places, we have come with new brand stories, which are purposeful in 3 to 4 lines. We have taken a school's enrollment from 71% to 96%. So I just think that it's all about the visionary CEO or the leader has to see an opportunity. And then we just jump from outside, roll up our sleeves, are excited, and feel blessed to be in the opportunity to help.
Arjun, I can talk to you all day long. We're going to end with a couple of websites. It's arjunsen.com is his consulting website, and then ZenMango.com is his other website. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Arjun. This has really been a blessing.
It's truly a pleasure. Thank you.
You bet. And that's it for now. We'll see you next time.